What's up, guys? Harles and Helios here from Rivals HQ. Today we're doing a tier list for you guys. We've been playing a ton of the alpha so far. We're loving it. So we're just going to dive straight into it. Helios, you've been playing tank the most. Start us off.
So, starting off with Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is quite a solid tank right now. He feels about middle of the pack. His shift gives him some amount of mobility. His burst fire projectiles are okay poke. His shield does a decent job of blocking his team from taking damage. And yeah, building up energy is the main skill expression on Doctor Strange. He feels about middle of the pack. I'd say about B tier.
Yeah, I can agree with that for sure. So next up we have Groot. Helios, you've been destroying on Groot in lobbies.
Groot is the tank I reckon everyone's going to be running in Dawn of Rivals. I think every single team is going to be running Groot in a week's time. He is clearly the best tank right now in the game. He has the best opportunity and in terms of staying alive as a tank, best ability at blocking damage as a tank with his 3 walls. He also gets extra health if enemies take damage near the Ironwood wall. So, or near his big wall, which allows him to stay in the fight for even longer. So if you pocket a Groot, it takes him ages to die. The only downside he struggles with is without any quote unquote normal mobility, because you can kind of wall up on yourself, but without any normal mobility on more open maps with a bit more high ground like Shibuya, he struggles a little bit. But on a more flat map, especially Asgard, after you break the high ground, it's really good to just keep walling. It's like Fortnite. You just see walls everywhere when 2 Groots are mirroring each other.
Yeah, so we got him in at A tier, guys. Definitely by far the best tank. Yeah, so next up, someone at the opposite end of the spectrum, we got Hulk.
The main thing keeping Hulk back right now is he's a melee character. And a lot of melee characters in this game right now, that being Hulk, Black Panther, SpiderMan, they suffer from the fact that well, specifically the fact that they are melees, they don't have much good poke. Hulk's only poke is on his 15-second cooldown E, so even though the clap allows him to have some amount of range, he's still very range limited, and you're regularly gonna need to use his jump a lot in order to get close, and then also remember to jump out so you don't just feed. I reckon the biggest change he needs right now in order to be just a little bit better is cooldown reductions on pretty much everything except his clap, I would say. I think that his overall gameplay loop is already there. I think he just needs all of his abilities need to come up just a few seconds faster, and then you can start cycling on Hulk and going for more dives, and he would easily rise up pretty quickly.
Would you add an AoE like landing, like splash landing, like similar to Winston from Overwatch, or no?
Initially, I would have gone with it, but I think if you allow him to, I'd have a bit more of a range with the clap, or a larger AoE with clap, or if you just simply made his E come back on a shorter cooldown, potentially something else to do with his gamma energy that he builds up, because it only charges his ult right now, but it could potentially charge up his E instead as well. So I think there's a number of other changes besides landing damage you could give him, even though landing damage is the most straightforward.
Okay. So next up, Magneto. We've seen a rise of players, Magneto players. Minute. We've seen a rise of Magneto players throughout the days that the alpha's gone on. I still don't think he's strong though. Like, I haven't seen one of them just take the game and dominate it. But they're definitely improving for sure. I still think he needs something else. What do you think, Ilios?
I think Magneto is probably the worst tank worst Vanguard in the game right now by quite a large margin, in my opinion. He has the same maximum range on his projectiles as Groot, but unlike Groot, he has no walls to close the gap. He doesn't have mobility to close the gap. His right click knocks people further back from him. So, in fact, most of the time, people are going to be outside of your range, and that kind of sucks, because then you just have nothing to do. His shield doesn't last very long, and even though he can protect an ally with his E ability and gain some stacks on his right click, as I said earlier, the right click knocks people even further back once you've got max stacks. So you end up kind of doing nothing most of the time. I think they should reverse the right click so that instead of knocking people back, it pulls them in. He's Magneto, he has magnets. Why does he not magnetize enemies rather than sending them backwards? It doesn't make any sense.
Where would you place him on the tier list?
Fat D tier right now. There is
Not even a
so
low
many
C?
buffs you could like. I
I
can't
think
see any value.
I
to
think he's
gained
low
by
C.
Magneto.
I think he's low C only when Scarlet Witch has his team up.
Even with the Scarlet Witch team up, the sword has a duration limit. You're kind of playing half of a character. There's so many, like, if Scarlet Witch wasn't so strong right now, I don't think we would even have Magneto in like C tier, or like even consider him C tier.
Yeah.
I think Magneto is just D tier.
So, our next hero, 100% guys, you gotta start playing her. She is a sleeper pick. So, Helios is the pioneer of Peni Parker. He's found all the strats and he's about to tell you how it is.
Yeah, so something I've noticed now that we're 3 days into the alpha, people are getting really good at countering ults and focusing targets now compared to day one. Like, with a bit more experience, it's actually quite difficult to get value with Peni Parker's ultimate. Like, even though it gives you a ton of bonus health, you can still be bursted really easily if you don't use it correctly. So personally, that's one of the weakest aspects of her kits, but her neutral is really good. So one of her things is her webs. She can tether to the web that she places, and this allows her to be on point and then use the tether to get away from point and just continuously contest a point. And this gives your team the room to just not be on point and fight everywhere else, look for picks, while you're the one doing that. Her webs also stun enemies or root them, which is really good for securing a pick. So you do need to make some decision making on whether you want to tether to your webs or whether or not you want to stun someone with them. You can also use them for mobility and attach yourself to a web to go up to high ground. So there's a lot of options there. The other main thing about Peni Parker is her traps. She has a trap spawner with her shift and traps she can place down manually with her E. These don't do a lot of damage on their own, but especially with the spawner, which creates so many over time, once they accumulate in an area, it just one-shot squishies. And sometimes you can even round a corner as a Vanguard and just lose half your health. It is absurd damage. So I would say she's really, really strong at holding points, but she isn't super good at taking objectives.
So, on the tier list, I think, and I think Helios can agree with me, she goes into the A tier. Behind Groot, obviously, but definitely better than the rest of the Vanguards, for sure. Do you agree with me, Helios?
Yeah, I think she can make a case for A tier.
Yeah. Alright, so now we're moving on to the duelists. Let's start off with, unfortunately, the worst one. I'm a Genji main. I was a Masters Genji, and I've tried everything with this character. Really have. 100% he's D tier. He is my main. I still love him. He's great, well designed. Just like the uptime, like when there's in between fights, is just awkward with him. You don't have any poke. You have 2 spears. When he's in, he's good though. So, but it's just getting to that situation. There's just 100% better picks than him, for sure. Like, you can do everything you can on him, but the other picks will just decimate you. Like, won't spoil it, but the S tier heroes just flatline this guy for sure. Easy, any day of the week. But yeah, very engaging, fun hero still. Just needs a little bit of range. And yeah, Helios, what do you think about him? You played a couple games on him.
I played one game as Black Panther to see what it was like, and I felt like a spectator. I found that I was getting absolutely no value, and most of the time I was just swinging at air. You get your right clicks every 5 seconds, which are the only bit of range you have besides your dashes. And once you're in with your dashes, you can get like 8 hit offs and then just dash out, and that's kind of it for you, and you wait for your cooldowns to come back. It doesn't feel like you're playing an actual character, and even if you hit everyone with your bastards, you're not necessarily going to be killing everyone. You're probably going to get a bunch of dash resets, but it's not. Yeah, I'd say when it comes to like melee, flanker, duelist, SpiderMan's just better in every way.
Yeah, and I think another problem, it goes down to the melee character problem. I think they just need to sort of have a unified like range with the fists, because Spider-Man's is longer than Black Panther's, and I think Hulk's also feels short when I played him. So BP and Hulk, they sort of have a shorter range than Spider-Man on the punches. So I think if we just gave everyone the same range, maybe a little bit of movement speed, I think that could help chasing down heroes and securing them with your melees. But other than that, he's good design. We just needs a bit of love. So next up, someone on the complete other side of that, we got Hela, the DPS nightmare. Like, this character is ridiculous. Helios, what are your thoughts on her?
As soon as the gameplay trailer dropped for Hela, I was instantly willing to put her on S tier. She can two-shot any squishy with her hit scan, and especially when there's not a lot of hit scans in the game and there's a lot of like flyers to attend to, Hela is extremely extremely valuable. It's also a nightmare as a tank to play against Hela, because you want to get close, but you've got a large hitbox, really large crit box as well, and all she needs to do is hold left click, throw in a right click, and you just explode. Like, it is really really hard to take on a Hela. It's better just to avoid her. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I 100% agree with that. I think what they need to change about her, though, we were talking about this earlier today, was you just tone down the damage a bit, simple, and then we just make the right click a little bit more engaging. It's a bit slow for all the blades to come out. Let's make her play around the right click a bit more. You know, like, I think that'll be the cooler way of playing her if we give that a bit of a buff. But I think the 2-shot is a bit BS. It's got a quick fire rate, so yeah, I think it needs a bit of tuning there. So, our next hero, another well-designed hero, I like playing him, is Iron Man. For Iron Man, I think he's definitely middle of the pack for sure. He doesn't quite have. He's counted very easily by the top tiers, but also he can also put the hit. Also, he can also put the also. Also, he can put the heat on the lower tier guys. So he definitely sits in the middle of the pack for sure. He's got good abilities. His stance switch is really good. His flying feels really nice. Helios, you played much Iron Man?
I've not played much Iron Man, but played against him quite a bit. The beam is definitely quite strong once you're in range. I'd say Maximum Pulse is probably one of the best ultimates in the game.
Mm.
It's a massive AoE and it confirms kills like quite reliably. Unlike Scarlet Witch, which we'll get onto later, but Scarlet Witch also has a huge AoE, but the cast uh, feels a lot longer and a lot more obvious, whereas Maximum Pulse is something that can be shot. So I'd say his ultimate definitely like keeps him from dropping any lower than C, uh, as well as his like matchups.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's got a good fire rate too. I really like him. He's well designed, good kit. So next up, probably one of the best melee characters. Definitely in the higher tiers. I think she definitely falls into a high B. I think for yeah, Magik. So she's gonna sit at high B for me right now. Maybe even I think maybe probably mid of the pack. Mid of the pack. I'd definitely rather her being picked instead of Iron Man. But so compared to the other people in her role, she goes against Black Panther and she goes against SpiderMan, which are both similar design characters for the dive sort of DPS role. But yeah, her abilities are good. Her portal dash is really good with the whirlwind, and she can spawn that fucking gremlin guy. Her dash is good, but she just lacks a bit of vertical mobility for me. But what do you think, Ilias?
I think we'll be seeing a lot of Magic one tricks in the future of this game. She has one of the most satisfying combos, and she's Black Panther gets his only value ever by being teamed up with Magik. Um, and specifically by just giving Magik an extra mobility option. So I would say, yeah, Magik could definitely sit in B tier, though I expect there to be Magic one tricks that get absurd value out of her.
Yeah,
But she does definitely struggle against the flyers.
she gets very tanky though very quickly. Like against the if there's no flyers on the other on the enemy team, you can just shred through and get so much passive shields from your passive. It's nuts, and you can turn it. You can get up to about like five. I've seen 550 HP. So yeah, but she can become very tanky and a backline menace very quickly. But as of now, definitely B tier. So up next we got Namor. Helios, you understand this guy to a certain degree. Don't give I don't know anything about him.
Yeah, Namor is one of the less popular heroes right now.
We did call this.
And even when he does, yeah, even when he does get picked, it doesn't really feel like he's there sometimes. So far, the only good Namor games I've seen are Namors that aren't using his turrets and just going ham with his like spear. And I think that might be the future of Namor is just to place octopus turrets around point to defend it, and then just to start doing things with your spear because the turrets don't do super significant damage and they can get broken very easily. And apart from damage, they don't offer anything else. Whereas, like, compared to a Loki clone, which can also heal, it's just not as good.
Where would you place him on the in the pack right now?
I think Namor right now sits in a C tier, but there is potential for him to rise up the ranks, especially if we see like any cheese strats with Namor and Punisher just bunkering up on a point. I do think that's possible, but I think Namor in most team compositions is not very useful.
He has a team
Doesn't
up, right, with
he,
Luna?
he does have a team up with Luna, but it doesn't seem to make him that much stronger. Uh, despite Luna being one of the absolute best characters right now, Namor still ends up being quite low, but I would still take a Namor over a Black Panther on my team.
Yeah.
I'd put him in C tier.
But just a little heads up, guys. Black Panther can actually kind of shit on him. Just a little heads up. Also, so next up, Punisher. This is one who can definitely take over lobbies. I've seen Punishers drop 30, 25, 29 kills. I would definitely just throw him in at probably the low A. He definitely gatekeeps a lot of the ones, a lot of the duelists and other heroes under him for sure. He's got his ultimate is really strong. Like he can just melt anyone in his way with that. And then what else does he have? He's got smoke grenades. They're kind of okay. His basic rifle, very good damage. He's even got vertical mobility. See, that's something Magik still doesn't have. So that's why I have him above Magik right now. But once I think he'll definitely fall once we get a little bit more dive in the game. If Hulk becomes good, Black Panther becomes good, and a couple of the other ones become good, we'll probably see him start to drop. He definitely gatekeeps Iron Man from coming up to A as well. So, yeah, that's my reasoning. Helios, chime in.
Yeah, I agree on all points. I think Punisher benefits greatly from having a lot of range, and not something that most of the duelists or most characters in this game even have. I think the turret is something people are going to gradually get better at dealing with. We're already seeing this 3 days in.
Yeah,
People are getting way better at being attentive to the turret and breaking it. But aside from that, like his primary fire is really good at just shutting down flyers and keeping them in check, which is really valuable right now. The it does seem to define like how how good you are as a duelist by can you deal with a flying duelist or not,
mm,
and do you have range?
yeah. So, up next, Scarlet Witch, 100% S tier as well. Probably, yeah, definitely better than Hela. Um, she's going to be sitting in there because her abilities are just so good. She's got a stun that can stun 4 times. It has 4 ticks basically, 1 stun per second. It's very good in doorways. Her grasp is very good, like consistent damage. So you don't even have to aim with it. So it's just easy to hit all the time. Her left click is just she shoots like magic balls. She's got 4 of these. Once again, this is about a 4 shot, maybe even yeah. It does a lot of chunk damage really quickly. Shift is crazy. She has 2 Reaper shifts from Overwatch. Just two, but like I think it's too much having 2. I think for sure. Her ultimate is very good for clearing zone. It's just a diva bomb. Like it's very good for clearing areas. Won't always get kills because people have gotten better. They know how to play around it a bit better now, but still good. Still good. It's got a long wind up, but still good. Helios, what's your thoughts?
I think the main problem with Scarlet Witch right now, in terms of like why she's so high up, is the 2 charges of her fade.
Yeah,
I think she only needs 1 charge because it's way too hard to punish 2.
yeah,
E like right now with the stun and her primary fire, it's already like quite a nightmare to deal with her as a tank. You'd think that the tanks being effective in close range would have a good time against Scarlet Witch, but when you get stunned 4 times, it doesn't feel like it. And then she just gets out of there anyways with her 2 charges, and
yeah,
even some of the more mobile characters struggle to chase her,
yeah.
which is quite a problem.
So I think also what they
Uh,
could do with this is uh they could change how shit. So when you're playing Scarlet Witch and you press shift, you can still see the outline of your body. I think if they did that for the enemy POV, it would help as well. If they want to keep the two charges, they have to do this because the enemy POV, she just turns into a little red dot, which is like, or a little red orb that it's really hard to follow when all the fucking colors are flying everywhere in this game. But yeah, I think they need to fix that up a bit just on the shift. It's a bit too strong. Up next though, we got one of my other favorites, SpiderMan, and probably a lot of you guys' favorites. He's gonna sit in the A tier for me. I think he's gonna come up. He's gonna beat Punisher out. He's gonna beat Punisher out. He counters Punisher. Once he's on top of Punisher, he can just knock him up, hit him with the web combo, put the tracer on him. Uppercut does so much when you have the tracer on him. So yeah, he's definitely probably the best melee hero in the game for the duelists. And yeah, Black Panther, Hulk, you got to take notes here. We got to look at how Spider-Man is. He's got the best range on his
Yeah,
melees, and yeah,
yeah, Spider-Man's what Black Panther aspires to be. Like, unlike Black Panther, Spider-Man, who's still range limited, still has a melee weapon. It has a slightly bigger range than Black Panther, as we previously said, but with how much mobility Spider-Man has, he can actually get into melee range. And he is actually a bit of a threat to Mantis players and a lot of these less mobile characters.
yeah,
Because once he's on top of you, the combo potential is pretty high. And he quite reliably can get in range. Also,
yeah,
his ultimate is quite good.
yeah. There's ult. He can the way you would counter it would be obviously like a Zenyatta ult from Overwatch. However, but in this we don't really have that right now. We have the closest one we have is Luna Snow, but she can get stunned out of it. So it's very good. It's very good because of the stun, the ultimate. Yeah, he's gonna sit comfortably in A tier for now. He's very good. Star-Lord easily comes up to S tier. His whole kit is very similar to Tracer. He just has an Echo Dash as well. So he's very fun, but I think his guns are just nuts. Like there is no damage fall off on those things, so you can just smoke flyers with ease. Iron Man's going to be sitting in B tier because of that, and also Punisher. But Star-Lord is what keeps the flyers in check in this game right now. And I think if we're going to nerf him, we got to nerf his range. Helios, what do you think?
Yeah, it does feel a bit like NetEase did forget to give Star-Lord full off.
Yeah,
Because right now there are clips out there of Star-Lord shooting from like 30 meters away and getting a kill. Really, really fast as well. So I think you just nerf his full off. It's pretty simple, and that would immediately bring him down to roughly where he should be. Because I think he should be a good character. He has good options. He's like quite good dynamics, but he just does not deserve so much range. Like when he's that mobile of a character. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
I think if we change the range, he'll probably sit comfortably. He'll be in a perfect state, I think, in the A tier. But up next, we have Storm, another sleeper pick, one of my favorites. We uploaded a gameplay video. You can go check it out. Did okay, 25 limbs. Yeah, but she's gonna be definitely high. Ooh, I wouldn't quite say she belongs in low A. I think she definitely beats out Punisher, but does she beat out the other guys, Helios? The B tier cast. Hmm.
Storm's a difficult one to rate because she gets extra value from her auras and amping speed or damage on her teammates,
Yeah.
which is something that's going to be more helpful in a coordinated environment. But for just solo queue purposes, I think she's a pretty decent flyer, better than Iron Man at least. But
Is she
aside
better
from
than
that,
Strange though?
she she feels Yeah, she doesn't feel quite A tier worthy just yet. The maybe it's too early to tell. Maybe some teams will realize that Lightning Amp is actually insane. But I think she could be better than Doctor Strange. Yeah, Doctor Strange feels about exactly middle of the pack to me.
Yeah,
So I think Storm is just a little better than that.
yeah. I think she's also probably has a spot in the meta when obviously Helios said when teams figure out her lightning amp, I think she'll make a great sort of if the meta sort of develops into a one tank, 3 DPS, 2 supports, we could see Storm being picked as sort of like a pseudo support where with her obviously her speed and her damage amp. But as of now, definitely high B. Yeah. So up next we have supports. We have Luna Snow right now. So Luna Snow, Helios, what do you think?
Luna Snow is quite an easy strategist to play right now, and she gets a lot of value. So I think that's easily enough to make her one of the best supports. The only one she's really contending with right now, I'd say for bet arguments for who the best support is Loki. But Luna Snow, really, really simple. You shoot your teammates to heal them. You you freeze people with your right click. With her simple kit and how effective it is, it her baseline value is crazy. So I'd say she easily goes into A tier. There's possible arguments for S tier.
I think she
Um,
beats out Penny. I think she goes right below
yeah,
Groot.
I'd
High
say
A.
she's more of an impact. She's higher impact than Penny.
Yeah. Her ult is
Um,
extremely
but
good.
yeah, well, we can Luna Snow's ultimate is definitely one of. I mean, all the support ults are good, but I think Luna Snow's ult is just a bit better than Mantis ult, and it kind of gets the it kind of gets to be the best of both worlds of Rocket's ult and Mantis' ult because you can choose whether it can be healing or damage boost, and I think that's why she just ends up being better than both of them.
Yeah.
But moving on to the next contender for who could be the best support, Loki, who is notably harder to play than Luna Snow, but there's still aspects of him that are relatively simple. Also, still just a shoot your teammate to heal them, but unlike Luna Snow, Loki has a lot of flanking potential that he can make with his clones because you can swap to them, and his stealth spawns a clone as well. So there are a lot of options you can make. Loki is extremely dynamic. Really, really fun. Being the most fun strategist for me to play in the alpha so far. There's like a lot of potential to create crossfires using your clones. You can also just spam them all in the same place in order to burst heal or burst damage a person because they shoot the same target you're shooting. And Loki ult is pretty good if you copy an S tier or a tank. But keep in mind that if you die in ults, you just die as real Loki as well. Yeah, if you're coming at this as an Echo main from Overwatch, do not use your ultimate to try to stay alive. Otherwise you'll just get bursted out of it and actually end up dying. So yeah, Loki's shift also allows him to prevent damage from being dealt to his allies that are near his clones, and I believe it converts it to healing as well. So if you time this well, you can just block a lot of the super high impact ultimates. It's very useful, and I think this, combined with just a bit more time for players to learn him, should easily earn him a spot in A tier. And we'll probably be seeing more of Luna Snow and Loki in the future.
Yeah. Alright, so up next we have Luna Snow's clone. We got Mantis. So, Helios, you're the support guy, strategist man. continue with Mantis?
I've I find Mantis relatively boring to play, but that's probably just because she's an even easier version of Luna Snow. Her abilities actually prompt you to use them, so you're never going to forget that you have your Inspire or that you have your healing over time. And she's pretty good at healing a lot of harder characters to heal. Like, she can heal a Spider-Man or a Flyer really comfortably because she doesn't have to aim it. She can also provide them damage boost. But I'd say one of the major downsides of Luna Snow is that she has no mobility whatsoever. So if you get on top of her, she's gone. It's more important for Mantis to play further back and just heal her team, but at that rate, you may as well be playing Luna Snow. Luna Snow does her job just as well. Same ult but better. Same healing but better. Just overall the better version.
So we think she belongs around probably the bottom of A right now. That's probably where she sits. And lastly, Helios, Rocket.
I know I recently just said that Mantis was one of the most boring strategists, but I would actually give that over to Rocket. Rocket has some really fun mobility options with his 2 shifts, his wall climb, and his glide. But the problem with Rocket is that a lot of the time the best thing to do is to sit at the back of the map and just spam your right click to heal people. And that's like 90% of his gameplay loop. His res is pretty good. He just places a drone somewhere, usually behind cover, and this can resurrect anyone who dies. And his ultimate is quite impactful. It's very similar to the old Overwatch 1 Orisa ultimate. You just place this behind a corner, and it'll damage boost any allies that I can see. So, yeah, he can turn fights pretty comfortably, but this is one of the, in my opinion, just turn your brain off and heal characters, because trying to deal damage with Rocket does seem to just starve your team of heals.
So this is our final tier list. Obviously, the A tier we wouldn't touch anything. They're good how they are. S, we probably got to bring them down. D, we need to move them up. C, little nerfs, little buffs, sorry. And yeah, that's about it, guys. So that's our final tier list. We got more videos coming to you this week. Stay tuned. But yeah, thanks for all the support, guys. We really appreciate it. All right, see ya.